Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Urvashi and I work as a professional trainer and I provide trainings in front-end development technologies, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.js and Redux. Apart from that, I help candidates with interview preparation as well. Welcome to the 7th video of JavaScript of Let's Crack It with Urvashi series. In today's video, we are going to talk about loops in JavaScript. Again, if you're coming from Java, C++, C Sharp or Python background, like I said in previous video, uh, just like we have conditional statement as one of the programming fundamental concept, similarly we have loops as one of the programming fundamental concept. So if you want to learn loops as a rooted core concept, then you can go through this video for sure. Before we go to the video, don't forget to check out my front-end development interview preparation material. I have added the description below, so do check that out. Now let's get to the video. In today's video, we are going to start with loops in JavaScript. So loops is basically when you want to execute same block of code a number of times. For example, iterating over array is one of the example where you want to execute same piece of block of code. Let's say you want to display something, you want to iterate over each and every array element. At that time, we use loops. So whenever you want something in repetition and same thing need to be executed a couple of times you need some iterations. So iteration is basically number of times or something you want to execute. Let's say you want to execute a block of code 5 times. That means you want 5 iterations. This is what iteration is in loops. So you want to execute a block of code couple of number of times. That is what we say loops in JavaScript. So there are multiple loops to do so. Let's say for in, while, do while, for of. So we have so many loops to do. So for in, for of are introduced in ES6. So today we are going to see for, while, and do while in JavaScript. So let's go to Visual Studio Code. So here I have HTML file and here I have loops, external JS file. So the very first loop we have is for loop. So for loop, this is the syntax: for, round brace, and then curly braces. In this round brace, we have three statements. Statement 1, semicolon, statement 2, semicolon, and then statement 3. So we write these statements and here we write block of code. So this is how we write for loop. So this is the syntax for your for loop. Now how it is executed. So the very first step is statement 1, then statement 2, then block of code, then statement 3, and then after statement 3 it will go to statement 2 and then block of code and so on till condition is false. Now if we see the steps of execution one by one, the very first is going to be statement 1, then it will go to statement 2, then block of code, statement 3, statement 2, and then block of code, and so on. That means statement will be executed only once. That is at the very beginning of the for loop. And then statement 2, 3, and block of code is going to keep on executing till your condition is false. Now condition is basically statement 2. So statement 2 is my condition. So here we write some condition. Till the time condition is true, it will go to statement 2, block of code, statement 3, statement 2, block of code, and statement 3. Keep on iterating between these three till the time statement 2 is false. Now let's take some example. Let's say I have some arrays. Now I want to iterate over each array element. I want to iterate and want to display each and every array element. So I will say for. So I will write var I is equal to 0. So generally you will see some value initialized here. That is going to help us with the iterations. Next comes the condition. Now I want to iterate over this array. That means I want condition is set to be true till the time all the items are not iterated. So I will just say I. Now if I just think about it, I can just think of some condition like I less than array dot length. So I can think of something like this. Then I plus plus. Then curly braces. So that means I have one for loop. Variable I equal to 0. This is my first statement. That is initializing the value of I. Now I am considering something like the here in this case I'm considering I is like index value. It doesn't have to be index, it can be anything. Right now I'm considering I is something like a index box. So till the time it's less than array dot length, I'm going, this is my condition, and I plus plus, that is incrementing it by 1. And this is the place whatever you want to do on each iteration. Let's say I just want to display array of I because I is representing index right now. That is what I have asked it to do. So that means this is how it is going to execute. Firstly, var I equal to 0, first statement, then it will go to second statement. Then block of code, then third statement. Then statement 2, block of code, statement 3. Statement 2, block of code, statement 3. Till the time this condition is false. Now let's see through the values. So this is 0. 0 less than, length is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 0 less than 4. Condition is true. So this will display first element. Then I plus plus, I will become 1. 1 less than 4, condition is true. The second element is displayed. Then I plus plus, that is true. So 2 less than 4, condition is true. This will be displayed, third element. Now I plus plus 3 less than 4, condition is still true. This will display 45. Now I plus plus, I will become 4. 4 less than 4, condition will become false. That means it will come outside this loop after this. Once, so if you see all the elements are covered, it iterated over each and every array element. Now let's execute this. So here I can see all the elements are displayed here. That belongs to this array. Now let's take few more examples. Let's say var j equal to 0. I'm just taking random initializing value. So generally in statement 1 we have this statement only of initializing some value. So I will say j greater than equal to 0 and j plus plus. And I will just write console.log of j. So I'm saying j is equal to 0, j should be greater than equal to 0 and j plus plus. So if I refresh, you will see this will keep on going. So this will crash my browser because condition is always true. So the whole reason of creating this type of loop is that you need to make sure that at some point your condition should be false. Now if you see, if it's keep on incrementing, this will condition is always true. 0, then 1, 2, 3, because every value is going to be greater than equal to 0. So what I can do, I can change my condition and I will make it minus minus. Now my browser is crashed, so I have to run this again. Now I will go to inspect. Here I can see 0 because 0 only one condition was true. Now let's make it 10. Now here you will see 10, 9. So all the elements decremented by 1 here. So a line of execution will be 0, j will be 10. 10 greater than equal to 0, condition true, 10 is displayed. Now j minus minus 10 will become 9. 9 greater than equal to 0, 9 is displayed. Then 8, 7, 6 and 0. 0 greater than equal to 0, condition is true. Now 0 minus 1 will become minus 1. So minus 1 is definitely not greater than 0. So it will come out of this loop. Now let's take one more example where I is equal to let's say 10, and I will say I is greater than 4, I minus minus console.log of I. So here in this case, from 10 till it is greater than 4, it will be displayed. Once this condition is false, it will come outside this loop. And we need to make sure, so from here it is starting. So we need to make sure that our code, whenever we are using loops, it should turn to false at some point of time. So this is how we can use loops. For loops, always remember that line of or steps of execution, always. The next loop we have is while loop. Again, this is has the same thing of executing a same piece of code multiple times, but syntax wise is just different. So syntax is while, round brace, curly brace. So here we put the condition. Condition means second statement, and then a block of code comes here. Now here, firstly, in this while loop, you need to do the initialization outside. You cannot do the initialization anywhere else. So first line is going to be initializing the value of your variable. Next thing is while, round brace, and then curly brace. So here I'm going to put some condition. Let's say j is less than equal to 10. Till the time j is less than equal to 10, this should work. Now here we write this line of code. This block of code we will write. Let's say I want to console the value of j. Now we will do the increment or decrement, whatever we want to do. So your first statement will go here, basically. Condition statement 2 will go here. Block of code remains same, only the increment, the third statement will go in the end. So this is how we can use the while loop. Now let's see the output. So if I run this, I can see from 1 till 10 it is displayed. Rather from 0, because we initialized it with 0. So from 0 till 10 the values are displayed. Now if you see, this syntax is similar to for in terms of in for loop, first statement is not compulsory. So I will just write statement 1 is optional and statement 3 as well. I'll just write here statement 3. So they both are optional. So that means if I, let's say, don't use these statements, that means for, round brace, curly brace, now add two semicolons. So first statement is not optional and third is also not optional. So I'm not going to add that, but definitely you guys need to add these semicolons. So first semicolon condition, let's say I is greater than 0. Now third statement is optional, but you need to add semicolons even if you're not adding something in statement 1 and 2. So in this case, you need to initialize the value of I outside firstly, and third statement, let's say I'm just consoling the value of I. Now third statement will go in the end. You need to do increment or decrement, whatever you want. So here initializing var I equal to 10, this statement will come outside and third statement will go in the end. So this is also how we can write for loop. Now this is equivalent to what while loop is. Initializing in the outside, instead of for we write while, condition, curly braces, block of code, and increment or decrement. The syntax wise there's a difference, otherwise there is no difference between for and while. Now we have one more loop, that is do while. Now in do while, this is the syntax. Now do while is different from rest of the loops. So in this, firstly do statement comes. So in this, firstly do statement comes and then the while. So here we add the condition, and here we add the block of code. So basically, we are going to write do something and then while some condition. This is how we read it. So in this do while, irrespective of the fact what is there inside this condition, if you see in for and while, firstly it checks the condition. Even in first step the condition is false, it will not go inside this block of code. So it's all based on the statement 2, which is condition, and while this is the place condition. So here it doesn't matter what condition is, do is going to execute at least once. That means it is going to check condition after executing do initially. That means if I'm writing console.log of, let me just declare some variable outside. So you have to again declare variable outside z. So it will be do something and then it will come to while to check the condition. So let's say z is greater than equal to 10. Let's say this is my condition, that z has to be greater than equal to 10, or let's say less than equal to 10. So z has to be less than equal to 10. So it means it is going to execute at least once even if condition is false for the rest of the part. So here it will come, start from here. So execution will start from do. It will come and execute this part. Then it will go to while and check for condition. Let me do one thing. Let me make condition false. So it will come here. It will execute this. It will check condition is false and it will stop executing. But it will execute at least once. So if you will see only 0. Because do part is executed irrespective of the fact it was condition was false. But in for and while, it first checks the condition and then execute this. In do as well, it checks for condition, but not in the very first step. The very first step, it will execute do, then it will come to check the condition, which is false. So you will see only this part is executed and that too only once. So only once do will be executed if condition is false. So this is the difference. Even if the condition is false, do is executed at least once. Now we have two more loops, for in and for off, which were introduced in ES6, but we'll see them now only. So very first loop we have here is for in, which were introduced in ES6. So this is the syntax for. So this is the syntax for curly braces. In this for, we write key slash property. So this is in object. So this is used specifically for the objects. So for in we can use for to iterate over objects. So this is how we use that. Let me just create an object. So earlier we don't have any privilege because in for plain for and while you cannot iterate over object, but now you can using this for in loop. Let's say first name Alex, age let's say 26, age let's say 26. If I have to iterate, I will write for. So this key or property, you can give any generic name. Let's say X in person, object name. Then curly braces will come. Then I will just say console.log of X. So X is what the key or property is. So console.log of X. Let's say what comes in X. So X will represent person, age, the property names basically. So if you want to get the value, you can just write console.log of person of X. This is how we get the values as well. So this is how you can access the properties. So this is how you can iterate over objects in JavaScript using for in loop. A similar loop we have is for of, that is specifically for arrays, like shorter syntax for arrays. So for of loop is basically to iterate over arrays. So I will just write for curly braces. So for here I'm going to say, let's say I'm using the same array that we created here. This array, I'm using the same array. So I can iterate over array using this syntax, or a shorter syntax is also there, that is for of. So I will write for var x of s of arr. That is going to be my array. So here I will just write console.log of x. So here I can see all the array elements. Now I can use for of for strings as well. So let me just create a string. Let's say hello. So I'm going to use the same logic. I'm just changing the array to string. So here you will see all the string values. So we can iterate over string and arrays through for of as well. So this is how we can use loops. You can use for loop for strings as well. Definitely we can use while, we can use while as well. But this is a shorter syntax. For of and foreign is for shortest syntax. You can use these for objects and then arrays and strings. But these are like shorter syntax as compared to completely writing statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. So this is what we have in loops. Beside this, we have two important terms, that is break and continue. Now this break and continue is used, you can use it like anywhere. Let me just say where. So whenever you are using loops, we generally use these. So I'm having some array, let's say. I want to iterate over these array. I is equal to 0. I is less than array dot length. I plus plus. Let's say I'm just consoling array of I. Now this is just my array. I'm iterating over array and displaying the values. So if I refresh, I can see all the array elements here. Now if I use break statement here, that means it will start executing, and the moment it will get break statement, it will come outside of this loop. That means my loop will break there. So it will be 0 condition, it will come to this line, condition is true, it will come to console array of 0 which is 10, and then it will see break statement, and will stop executing my loops. So here I will just see one element, that is 10. That is this one. Because break statement breaks the loops wherever it is used. So the moment it will see break statement, it will come out of this loop. The opposite is continue. The next one we have is continue. So I'm using the same logic. So instead of break, I'm using continue. So in continue statement, whatever you are writing after this, let's say I'm writing console.log of array val, or let's say I. So it will not execute that particular iteration. That means continue will continue to the next iteration and skip the current iteration. For example, I equal to 0, it will come here, check the condition, condition is true. It will come here, it will continue. That means whatever you have written after this continue will not be executed, because it will skip, with the moment it will see this continue word, it will skip the current iteration and will move to the next iteration. That means whatever is there after continue, it is not going to work. But yes, in case of break, it stops executing the loop only. But in continue, it will continue the loop but will go to the next iteration. So it will be 0, true. This will be executed, continue. That means skip this iteration, go to the next iteration. I plus plus, condition is true. This will be executed, continue. That means whatever is written after continue, don't execute that. Skip that and continue with the next iteration. This is how break and continue can be used. We can use these break and continue with if else conditions, conditional statements as well. So this is how we can use break and continue. And this is what we have in loops: for, while, do while, for in, for of, and the break and continue statements, which we can use anywhere. We can use in conditional statements and loops as well. So this is what we have in loops. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching my videos, especially sharing so much of love on this Let's Crack It with Urvashi series. And if you really like my content, if you think my content is useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my channel. do share it with all the people you feel really need to learn, even not just the front end developers or web developers. The core concepts that I've covered, like loops, if else, all those will help you out, as even if you're working with other technology like Java, Python. Even in that case, these core concepts will help you to these videos will help you to understand those programming fundamentals, core concept. So I just want to say thank you, and do watch my videos in future. So a lot of different type of content is coming up in future, maybe something related to interview as well. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching my video.